So we're making constant progress on our Cypress testing efforts in general, and part of that is expanding support for external modules. And I have effort that I can use to help people with general Cypress questions, or if you run into any issues trying to test modules, I can help support you. So if that's something that is useful for anything anybody's working on, let's have a conversation. But I'm going to do a quick demo of what that process is like, just to give you a sense of what you could get into if you want to. So I'm going to jump to Control Center and the docs link over here and the external module documentation or development link just built into REDCap. That, of course, points to our lovely module docs. And you'll notice right on the homepage there, you have unit testing and you also have Cypress testing. And if you click Cypress testing, you'll jump over to our Cypress toolkit repo. And I'm actually going to switch this to the dev branch because I just made some updates that Mac is not approved yet. I would like you to see those. So jumping back down to our writing test for external module section. Okay, so of course, step one would be complete all the steps above to get a local Cypress environment set up. Then after that, any modules you want to test can be placed in this directory within the Cypress setup. And then any features inside an automated test directory and inside your modules will show up and work in Cypress. And there are a few behaviors relevant to that if you're actually writing them, you should read. I won't get into details now, but I would like to show you the working example that's part of our module development examples module bundled with REDCap. So I'll pop that up real quick and dissect it a little bit before we run it. So this is a Gherkin test using our custom language we've created for REDCap. And really, it's more of a general framework. It should work on any web app, really, but we happen to be using it for REDCap. And you can see it's quite user-friendly. There's a little bit of organization here with the feature and the scenarios, which is a Gherkin standard. And then within that, you have your steps that read like this. Given I log into REDCap with user test admin, I click on the link labeled new project. I enter this. It's human readable, simple steps. I click this, I enter that, I continue on. It, of course, is very specific language because we have to parse it and execute it. But if you learn the handful of common steps, you can get around pretty well and do anything you want to do. This one in particular is an actual test we use to test file settings because we did a refactoring on them last year that was kind of complicated, and we wanted to test and make sure everything worked properly. And it was kind of difficult to unit test, and so we wrote this front-end test, and it was a great way to verify behavior was doing what we thought it was doing related to like complicated repeating file settings. So let's run it. So if you follow the steps to set up your local Cypress environment, you'll end up with this setup here, and then you'll run a command per the instructions that opens this Cypress interface here. And I've already kind of searched for the module development examples module here. Of course, any other modules you put in that directory, your test should show up here as well. And let's click that file settings example we were just looking at to run. So you'll see REDCap opens within this little pane to the right that will populate just a second. And you can see Cypress automatically logging into a new custom local REDCap instance, Docker-based, be separate from any other REDCap instances you have. The database gets cleared every time, so it's like a clean install on each test. And you can see it is running through all of the steps and verifying that module file settings work as expected. And bam, I think we're about done. Less than a minute later, we've got our verification. And this test actually runs every day on our scheduled run. And we could set up something similar for projects if y'all want regular scheduled tests. But I also want to give you a little bit of a sense how to write your own tests. So let's go back to the file on my localhost that we were looking at in GitHub. So you get a little bit of a sense of the structure here, but let's start with a new test and just see what it would feel like to write a new one. So I might copy the first part of this just to make sure I have a working test. Given I log in REDCap with the test admin, which is how we start all our tests. If you read the docs, you'll see we have a million tests for RSVC that you can look at for examples. And then let's just run that and see where we go from there. So test.feature, you'll normally have a ton of tests in here, but you can first search down to what you want. And I'm going to run that test feature file that I added to this module just for y'all. And you will see it is that easy to make a new test. Just make a new file in your module, it runs it, logs into REDCap, and then you can do other things with it. For example, you could say you want to go to Control Center. I happen to know the language. Well, here, let's say you want to do something and you don't know what to do. I'm going to hop back to the docs. That link in the docs sent you to this writing test for external modules section. And at the end of that, it says, see the supported step syntax section for how to learn the various steps. And here, geez, I wish I had had this for you a couple of weeks ago. That probably would have been super helpful. But I have a condensed list here of all the most common steps. So if you get a feel for these, you can do pretty much anything with our existing Cypress steps. For example, in this case, I've already logged in. I don't want to create a project at the moment, so I'll skip that one. But I do want to click on a link to Control Center. So let's copy this syntax into our test. And I will change action to click on, like it said was one of the options, and I will change target to link. Change some text to Control Center. Let's run that again. And it should click into Control Center. Ellis and Katie, please jump in at any point if you think I'm going over something too quickly, if you think something important should be mentioned.
Only thing for me is that I know when we were talking, I don't have save automatically enabled on my Cypress test, so I have to like manually save. So that just might be something to kind of either set that up or just remember that whenever you add something new, if you don't automatically have it saved, you have to go in and click on like save that test before you can run it.
That is a very good point. I forget. So used to the default auto save I have, I totally forget that. Thank you. I'm also going to show you an important shortcut here. So you see it took like 11 seconds to get to that point. Not a big deal for the second step, but if you're down on the 100th step of a test, you don't want to be rerunning that constantly. So we made this feature called continue last run that will just continue the last run where it is. So say from here, I want to test another step like clicking on browse users, for example. So I'd want something similar to this step, but instead of putting in this file, I'm going to open a file called continue last run that is bundled with the Cypress project. And I don't really need any of this nonsense I have in here for whatever I was testing last. Just going to paste in our little click step. I'm going to say click on the link titled browse users. And then if I run continue last run, it will pick up right from there and give you very quick feedback so you can develop kind of real time with what you're doing without having to start from scratch.
Wow, that's nice.
And of course, if I wanted to continue from here, I could look at the other steps. I could use, I enter some text into this field to enter text into here. And we have upload options for uploading CSVs. We have drop-down interactions. We have a ton more. There's this step documentation here, which is the official documentation of every possible step and every permutation, but it's a little overwhelming, which is why I created the little summary here to get people started on the most commonly used steps. I think that's the basic idea. And of course, I just wrote an example where we clicked links in REDCap, but you can click links anywhere in a module. You can step through a custom site if we wanted to. It doesn't necessarily have to be in REDCap. But that's the basic idea. Does anybody have any questions?
Can I
Mark,
click the I'm not a robot checkbox? Just asking.
I don't know. That's a good question. I kind of want to try that now.
Mark, this looks really great. I just wanted to ask, this is limited to external modules, right? It's not in the plugin architecture.
It could be. let's have a conversation if that's valuable to you.
Okay, thank you.
I guess I'll skim this doc a little bit more. So we have the usage examples. I also have, of course, we have our RSVC tests are the ones that test REDCap itself, which is what we've been working on for years. So that's our wealth of existing tests, really. And I added some search links in here. So for example, if you wanted to see how we interact with table rows, let's see, I'll click this one. I added some search links in here to REDCap so you can see, like if I wanted to interact with something in a certain row, you could use this syntax to, I should see this in this row, blah, blah, blah. It gives you a million examples. You can kind of hopefully find, if the basic examples you're seeing don't quite fit your need, hopefully you can go into the RSVC test and search for something that might fit it. Or if it's very specific, you could also dive into the detailed documentation and search for something like download for things that interact with file downloads. You've got a few options for how to learn about existing steps, including reaching out and asking. So yeah, that's about it. Any other thoughts, questions? Okay,
Mamoon,
well,
I'm sorry. I think Mamoon is talking, but I'm not hearing his audio.
I'm sorry, my mic was upside down. Yeah, I was asking about the login for single sign-on, like authentication we have for PayMyRedCap. Does it support that?
so the way Cypress works currently is it spins up its own local REDCap instance, so it does not have single sign-on. It's a specific instance with table auth, but that is not the only way it could work. It would not be hard to reconfigure it to work in other ways.
Gotcha.
Oh, great. Thank you, Mark. I really appreciate you sharing this. I think, you know, it's not that different from the QA steps. I think about some of the QA steps we put on our tickets in Harmonist or for TIN. I don't think it'd be that much work to kind of transition that into, you know, writing these tests anyway. So it could be, it is definitely a big step for getting test coverage.
Yeah,
I
please
just
ask
thought of-
anybody much questions.
Yeah, I just thought of one thing. Does timing come into it at all? For like
It very-
waiting?
It very much does, yeah. And that's there's a lot of intelligence built into our existing steps. A lot of it's REDCap specific around timing, waiting for AJAX requests to complete, waiting for page loads, waiting for, you know, REDCap to fire off the 50 different JavaScript snippets that are in script tags before the page is fully rendered. There is a lot of timing involved, but for the most part, we've made our steps intelligent to account for all that. And if you encounter issues, please report them. I have effort to resolve them.
Cool.
Yeah,
Thanks.
yeah. This looks really easy to use, and in turn, you just write in English. I mean, I want to click and use that. And I have used Selenium to do tests, you know, automated tests on the browser. It was painful to put like to locate DOM in the HTML, and this is, I mean, easy and simple to use. I appreciate that, Mark.
That's the goal. It's not perfect, but we get closer every day.
Great. I think that covers what we wanted to do in today's stand-up. I appreciate everyone's time. I would like to spend a few minutes chatting with the TIN team if that's okay, unless anyone else has any other items to check in on or chat about. Awesome. Well, thanks everyone. Appreciate you.
Bye.